Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 977, coming to you live from somewhere nowhere. We actually are having like a bit of a throwback to some of the golden days of NFT and airdrop hunting and stuff like that, and we were following down some sort of rabbit hole. And came across a new platform that's sort of coming out, and we sort of followed through with who the builder was and stuff like that. And so it's things come in cycles. So it's really sort of cool to see this meta coming back up of tracking what's going on, especially in the Web3 gaming industry, and seeing what's going on. And so we actually had one founder that we wanted to reach out to, and so we reached out to So, and we had him come. We talked to him for a minute, connected via third-party people that we have, like, that sort of ties us all together. And so we wanted to bring the man on up with us, because it's a fun day when you get to have someone else with you. So how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, Taco. Thank you for having me on here. Very excited to get into it and talk some airdrops and gaming.
Yeah, so we'll get into all of that, but like you've had a long history of building in Web3 a little bit and doing some other different projects and stuff like that. So before we get into calendar, want to shout out to everyone that's watching us, everyone that's fallen in. Shout out to everyone on LinkedIn, Player One Taco, YouTube, 0xDegens YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Telegram, Rumble, Kick, on-chain via Abstract, and on-chain via Arena. I think that's all of it, Yeah, man. So what is your background, man?
My background, it all starts with software engineering. I've worked as a software engineer and in my early 20s. And started as a C++ intern for an antivirus company. From there, I ended up falling in the rabbit hole of just building my own things as I was building my content creation channel, Mining Chamber. And with that, we just ended up trying to build a few things for the mining community, the cryptocurrency mining community, back in 2019. And we built a very, very good website, a fantastic data source for a lot of miners out there. And then that really gave us the first taste of like being able to build something in-house that will really go a long way. Content is fantastic. I enjoy doing it, but it's also very consuming for a builder that enjoys building software mostly. And being able to at least build something that stays there forever feels a lot different than having to do content always. That's a constant chase for the next piece of content, So it's an interesting perspective. Both are great ways to build a brand, and really just building software is the one that speaks to me most. And then from there, the past 2 years has just been a rabbit hole down the Web3 gaming space. As someone that loves to game a lot, I play most mainstream games. Web3 gaming was very interesting because it's the fine line between mining and gaming at the same time. It combines the two in a way where your time here is kind of mining you money, but while playing and investing in these NFTs, buying nodes that also power these ecosystems. All these are just different ways of mining, in my opinion. And with that just came a lot of opportunity. And I found that there's a lot of tools that are lacking in the space. Now, building in itself in Web3 gaming hasn't been fruitful. Like for a lot of people, I know it's much more of a loss than it is of a like $1 million idea, because it's still an exploration phase. There's still a lot to be done for us to reach to a foundation where it's finally stable enough to build a business out of. So that's where the rabbit hole went from Web3 gaming. We built a bunch of tools for Big Time, Raven Quest, and now we're building calendar.gg, which is a gaming calendar platform.
And you're working on automating. So you went through the whole list of things, and so, man, we're gonna dive down a lot of that different stuff, and we're gonna dive into calendar. But you're looking at sort of like automating the experience as well on calendar. to where people literally can just tag the calendar account. And right now it's human intervention of like, all right, is this taking that calendar event and putting it into the calendar for everyone? But eventually you're wanting to like automate it and data scrape it so that like if someone tags the account, it automatically pulls that information and puts it into the calendar so people can track it. And this is more around like not only just tournaments, but maybe like airdrop claims, um, you know, final battles and like guild wars type of stuff as well, correct?
That is correct. I think this is one of the most, powerful pieces of calendar in a whole is this component itself, is being able to automate the event gathering because having a man in the middle all the time, or at least for all the games, is going to be extremely difficult. And this model that we built not only will work great for Web3 gaming, but will also work fantastic for gaming as a whole. So like Web3 gaming is like 700 games up to then, and the entirety of gaming, you're talking about tens of thousands of games, and hundreds of them new a month, hundreds of them shut down every month. And even if you can apply to both of these type of entities, you can also apply it to DeFi. You can apply it to a lot of different niches. Really, when you build a stable and a very reliable system that can detect events based on criteria.
Nice. Yeah. And but so the piece behind, but the other side that I really like with it, and um having just done like a 30-second overview of it just because I wanted to set up a quick account and stuff so we could have it to look through. But it's also discoverability. So I can find out about things that I might not weren't on my radar, but that might interest me as well.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, discoverability is everything at the end of the day. Like, why did I build it? Is because I was having a hard time with discoverability. I was also treating it almost like a part-time job just to find events on X,
Yeah.
not so much to find them, but it's a mix of finding them and getting lost in them. Because you might have like a bunch of playtests happening in the same time where you just don't know which one to prioritize. You don't know the rewards, you don't know the criteria to apply. So a lot of things like that we miss in the details, just sort of scrolling endlessly on X.
Yeah. No, and like so like I've lost track of a few tournaments that I was wanting to be participating in, like parallel, off the grid, just because I'm busy doing a ton of things. So one of the things that I've seen like in the automation side of things is, and one of my favorite automated accounts uh reminded me of this.
Mhm.
So remind me of this. You tag remind me of this in 3 days, 3 weeks, a year, whatever, and it's all automated, and it just reposts that post for you in that time frame. But this
Mhm.
automation of reminding me of when things are happening and being a central source. So that's sort of like one of those things where you've started to like break this down into a central piece that people can see everything that's sort of going on in both their calendar as well as what's going on just generalized. And so you can sort of learn about other games as well, because I feel like that's one of the hardest things in Web3 gaming right now is that discoverability. And there's a couple platforms that try to like give you access to all of them. Games obviously is one of them. Magic Store is another, but there's a handful of others, but doesn't really give you what's going on event wise. And you don't really know if the community's big and bustling. You're just, trying to shoot in the dark. But this sort of helps, lets you know that there's things coming up that you can actively participate in. Um, what was the first game that you guys like were building this for, or that you thought of building this for when you were building calendar?
I think it was back in Big Time. Yeah, so it was back when Big Time was having a lot of those weekly events that they run. Um, there's just a bunch of them. Their leaderboards were very, very fruitful. Like they had a lot of rewards on the line there. Some of the people that I knew from Big Time won pretty big tickets, and really also it's not only tracking these play events, it helps have a thumb on things, having an idea of what's going on between the games, as you've mentioned. For example, tracking these events are great, but also I want to know how often do these games update their games. so the studios update their games. So that's what also calendar can bring to the table, is that we're tracking these updates as well, as much as we can, as much as the games post about them, and that will help incentivize games to post more often, more of like the builder and build in public mentality, and then help us build a timeline for like these games and be like, okay, this game has been updating one patch every week, one patch every month, so it shows you who's actively building, who's maintaining their game, which game is just idling and stagnating and eventually will die. So it really gives a lot of perspective. I'm someone that loves data, and this is exactly what really ticks my boxes here, is that data.
Yeah. So let's hop right into it. Like, so um we got calendar. So a calendar with a 3 instead of an .gg. And so you know, I one of the things that I sort of loved with this was that the location was La Couch, you know. So,
Right.
this is one of those things where you sort of just, and when did you start building this exactly?
Planning began on February this year, somewhere early this year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was February, March, but it was kind of like periods where we can build and tunnel and focus on it, and then periods that we couldn't because we're handling client projects and things like that. Like for a background is like we take in also client projects very not that frequently, to also spend time building a lot of cool in-house concepts, and this is one of this in-house concept that we really wanted to invest as much time in as possible, because I truly believe in the vision and the long-term idea of it.
Yeah. And so you made it really simple with like wildcard and shrapnel. So the first thing someone can do is they set up an account. Right now you have just Gmail or email account, signing in. Are you gonna create a Web3 wallet sign in as well?
For sure, yeah. We are applying for grants to be able to bring in a lot of more features that we want to bring in, and one of this is signing in with your wallet, and also on top of that, automatically subscribing you to games that you have NFTs for, to help you be able to, better follow up with these games, so you don't just buy an NFT and have it sit in your wallet for 10 years, something that I've done many times, and just forget about them. So at least now you have an indicator of like, okay, I have an NFT for Shrapnel. Shrapnel is doing something. I should be moving. It can help maybe also gauge whether you want to keep that NFT or sell it based on these news and the events that are coming in. So it helps you understand the state of the game more clearly.
Yeah. No, and I've seen how the like different pieces like that sort of I remember one of my favorite ones is actually not Ronin. Um oh man, why am I forgetting the name of this chain? Um it's another
Avalanche,
game. What?
Avalanche,
No.
Immutable.
Nope. It's a Japanese chain that was doing a lot of games for a minute back in like 22 and 23. Um oh man.
Wouldn't be
Uh
WeMix, right? Because I don't think they're
Remix.
Japanese.
Yes.
WeMix.
Yes.
Oh, I thought they're
Remix.
not Japanese. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of European to them and stuff like
Mhm.
that, but a lot of like we made and stuff like that. Like I know Arthur over there now, but a lot of it's generated out of Japanese games. Um,
Mhm.
One of the things I really liked about their wallet setup and stuff was the different tokens. You could click on the different tokens and you could see all the games that were involved with that token that you could
Mhm.
play. And so having a set source of truth of like, hey, you have these NFTs in your wallet. Like I remember my Shrapnel. I bought some Shrapnel NFTs and I completely forgot about them. And then I was at like Consensus, I think 23, and Shrapnel had a big booth there. And they were and on one of their video monitors, they had their battery packs. And I was like, I have I have a few NFTs like that like, and they're like, oh yeah, and I'm like, huh, okay, I totally forgot about that. So knowing where I could use my NFTs would be a huge, um, boon to at least what I got going on in my wallet. Because right now, I think most of the NFT games I have in my wallet are like Parallel. Um, there's a few other trading card games in there as well, but like nothing that I'm actively playing. But so if I had a source that said like, hey, you have these NFTs in your wallet for these games, one that helps people out a lot with like the safety side of things, of the right links and going through games. But knowing that, something that um, I've been part of projects where they launched an NFT and well, Parallel, but then they don't have a game for like 2 years. So seeing where they're coming from, um, and how they're going. So the breakdown from this, really is you're doing a little bit of a social side of things, but you're also the discoverability by the month and day type of things.
Mhm.
So walk me through this as we're looking at this first time. Someone comes in, signs in with an account real quickly. Um, what is it that you're wanting from them? Obviously, uh, connecting both their Discord and their X if they want to, but they don't have to. Um, what are the next steps for them?
So we've done a lot of experimenting on the interface because we're bringing in a very complex industry into something as simplified as possible. There's a bunch of type of events happening. There is the play type events, there's the engage type events, there's the sale type events, and the system type events. There's also two more that are we can't currently see here, but there's also the creator type, and then there's the quest type. We can get better insight on those when we click on the event types filter on the left side
Yep.
where it says all. The one above that one is the tags. The one above it will be the types. Yeah, correct. So
Okay.
these are the different types of events. So we try to figure out like the best type of buckets we can put things together in, and then break it down from there with tags. And in this case, we uh, we might be onto something in terms of types. I think we're in a place where we're comfortable with it, but it helps you at least be able to filter things based on what you want. Creator would be creator campaigns, you have to earn type of things where you're a creator trying to grow in Web3 gaming. You'd be using that. You'd be looking at that as it would be a good way for you to get a head start on a lot of events. Yeah, you can see on the 10th we have, for example, two. So these will help you know where to head with the content. And
Hmm.
yeah, for example, you can see there's a bug here already that needs to be tackled. The fact that one shows in 17th, but it doesn't show up. So there's still these quirks that we're fixing as we go. Um, but yeah, essentially we moved from the legacy view, which is on the top, to this
Yep.
view to break it down more into like a dashboard style with filters that are shareable. So you can customize your filters as you want and then share that as a public preset. And you can see that through the selected preset section in the top. Uh, like right, the first item in the filters, you'll be able to click on that, and
Yeah.
then yeah. So this one here, you have public presets, is the ones that people created already, and then the private presets are yours. So you can see like what people created. You can use those, or you can create your own and share it with your community. So for example, if you run a big community and the players in your community want to see the same thing you're seeing or want to see the same events you're monitoring, you create a preset for your guild or community and then name it that way and share it with them. So a
Yeah.
lot of interesting things like that. But yeah, the biggest problem has been just really being able to balance the interface and the experience as much as possible. And we still have a lot to consider. For example, a full-on onboarding system that's gamified, where it helps you like, hey, what kind of events you like? I mean, what kind of games genres do you like? What kind of ecosystems do you want to follow? Like, are you a Web3 gamer or not? To give you that ecosystem selection, because we are gearing this towards gamers, not Web3 gamers, but just gamers in general. Because if this works for gamers, it's going to help cross pollinate. If it's going to bring someone that plays League of Legends in here, for example, me, I want to know when is a new Z skin released. I love to buy every Z skin I see, so I will go ahead and put some sort of monitors to make sure I don't miss that. So things like that will help us bring more players into the space by cross pollinating. Because if I'm browsing this as a non Web3 gamer, and then I see, interesting, immutable play, 100K rewards. let me look into that. That there's something there to be earned. So it fires up curiosity, and it really helps onboard more players. But really, here is still early to figure out the best user experience for Web3 gamers before we bring it on to mainstream gamers.
Yeah. And I like how you're sort of like you're giving the option on the filtration side. Like, do I want to go after the big rewards, or do I want to go after, the little ones as well and try to pick up from here and there? So one of the things that we're seeing right now, so seeing just a lot of the Web3 gaming side, but you're talking about the different filter side, especially from the event side, which I sort of actually like, covering both creator, sales. So what does system mean in those types of games?
System can mean a few things at the moment. One of the things is game
Hmm.
updates, game maintenances, TGE launches, game releases, game shutdowns. Those are like the two biggest ones: is game release and game shutdown, because that will help us. Like imagine with all that data,
Hmm.
we're currently crafting a 2025 wrapped experience for Web3 gaming through that data that we have. So you'll be able
Yeah.
to see the games that shut down this year, the games that have been released this year, the games that TGE this year. So a lot of cool things that we can really see just through data, and
Yeah.
that's what these sites will help us facilitate. And then later on, once we feel like there's a better direction we can take or grouping for these types. For example, game releases and game shutdowns are pretty big events considerably that maybe they belong in their own type. So things like that is what we try to look for, is like how can we make this in a way that you look at it and you get it immediately. You don't have to think twice. But that's always been difficult to really achieve at the current state. We're just trying to get as many feedback as possible to reach that point.
All right, nice. Just a quick second, want to just shout out to those that are watching and typing in. Shout out to Michael K and Dylan and a wild SJ as well. Um, but no, it's sort of fun to sort of see like the different ways that you're sort of managing this and making it a really simple thing to where this isn't a game in and of itself. It's more of just a home screen that I can launch out for everything else from here. So um, you know, one of the games obviously that I play and stuff like that is Honeyland, and so I see that you have like an events you might like as well, and so
Mhm.
obviously parallel falls right into that. Um, what else are you sort of seeing? Are you starting to talk to games themselves and get them involved with this to get more information? And where's that partnership side of things looking at?
At the moment, I've been talking with a lot of the community or the players first. I want to make
Hmm.
sure I have a product for them before I reach to the games. Because what's valuable for games is if this platform has good traffic, it has good audience, for them to be able to rely on it and depend on it. So the ultimate goal for this for games is to be their event management system, with
Hmm.
options, for example, to pay a monthly membership and have like an ads-free page for all of their events. We don't have ads yet on there because, again, really right now we just focus on the product before monetization. But yeah, something like ads free for the games and extra features, and as well as the whole AI agent social media infrastructure that we're building, where we have multiple accounts posting about these events. So that would help them essentially increase the intensity of how many times we're posting about them on X. At the same time, have a nice check mark on their name and have ads-free pages. The legacy view you're seeing right now is the old version of how calendar looked like. As you can see, it gets crazy hectic due to the
Yeah.
amount of events that are going on. Like a lot of events are happening in Web3 gaming, things that you don't even notice if you're not paying close attention. And really, it's been an eye opener. Once we gather all that data, you look at it, interesting. Like Web3 gaming is far from dead; it's still building. A lot of games shut down for sure, but a lot of people are still building in the space.
Yep. And especially like right in like what's we've seen some games, what a lot of games do is they go from being like completely open to like their game style, they like once a week, because they're wanting the players to condense on play days so there's more players playing as well. So it's not that they shut down, it's just that they close the game for, and they only have it open like 1 or 2 days a week because they want all the players, as many players playing as possible at the same time.
Mhm.
So, um, so you're coming up on almost on a year on this, in 2 months.
Mhm.
Um, how have, as a founder and like as a developer, how have you sort of seen that change for you over the last 10 months? Um, Obviously, you have your old legacy
Mhm.
calendar, and you've moved to a cleaner calendar look. How have you seen that sort of change for you, and what have been some of like the hard points for you, man?
Um, Really, for as a builder, like one of the hardest things that the builder would face is building something that nobody uses, but it's part of the journey, you know. So we built for 5 months without having a single user, like other than us, the ones that are building it, just going through it, daily. We use it for our own needs and we use it for development needs. So that's been like the challenge is like not getting the market validated early, but I do know for a fact that this is something I needed when I entered Web3 gaming. So I was already convicted enough to know that I'm going to build it regardless. If not even a single person uses it, I still want to build it because I imagine it as a piece of art that I'm going to still paint, even if I'm still going to be the only one that looks at it. And with that conviction, you're able to still continue and build on, no matter how the market state is. Bull run, bear run, nobody cares. Just keep building. And right now, after implementing a very, very like effective SEO plan, we've seen the organic search like 100x so far within just this past week. Like this just started taking place. And really the calendar just started getting more traffic. So we went from 4 to 5 daily users, which again it was my team, to now we're having like 30, 35. So we're finally seeing the fruits of the labor over the period of time. It does suck that the Web3 gaming space has been slowly dying as we're going. A lot of less people are participating in these events, but at the same time, that's not our main target. Our main target is gaming. Whether it's
Yep.
Web3 or not, it doesn't matter. We're just going to get all of gaming. And even in the gaming space, this is needed. Like if you're playing the finals, if you're playing Arc Raiders, if you're playing any other multiplayer game that you want to keep track with, it's great there.
Nice. And so you guys have been building out some different things, and you said one of the things that I 100% focus on and love, something that you can use, that you
Mhm.
would use, and so many times I've seen founders building stuff, not saying that they're bad stuff, but they're building stuff for other people and not for them, and
Mhm.
that sort of one um, gives you a disconnect because it might not necessarily be the type of tool that you would need because the person that's building it doesn't necessarily know what's needed. And so they're relying a lot on the community. And really, you're just sort of building this. How do I want to see this? How would I want this to go? You know?
Right, exactly. I mean, like, of course, the use case will open to you the perspective of the end user. If you know how you want to use it and like you have to use it, then it shows you that this is how other people also want to use it. But it's always been interesting getting other people's perspective. Like, I've gotten a lot of great feedback from people across the community, such as Berna, Jace, the wizard from Ronin, and like these people really dissected what calendar is and helped bring it into an image that it is now today. So those are always, I'm always grateful for those type of people that always talk and criticize the plan accordingly because I'm an optimistic builder. I like to build, and the monetization doesn't come to me in the forefront of thinking it. I just keep building. It's going to bleed money, but at the end of the day, at some point it will work out. If it doesn't, it is what it is. It's another project to add to the portfolio and move on and build something new with that experience that we just built up.
Yeah. But no, I feel like this is one of those things to where um, it definitely could, it can be utilized, and like you said, beyond just Web3 gaming, but for gaming in general. And so I feel like that's one of those things to where, are you doing the classic, hopping into gamer spaces and be like, hey, how are you tracking all of your stuff? Have you started getting into that, like the old founder knocking on doors, customer doors?
I have not. I'm the worst salesperson ever, but I'm a great builder. That's the big problem. So it's
Okay.
something I have to work on for sure. But I do have a plan to be able to bring it to the mainstream gamers, and it's just not the time yet for that plan. Like at the end of the day, I like to perfect what I build, which is a bad mentality sometimes because it can take a lot of time to perfect it. So just a perfectionist mentality, and until then, until I feel like I'm confident, we can take it over there. Even until the stack is ready, like the infrastructure is ready for 10,000 games, not 700. Then we can do that. Other than that,
Yeah.
it would be difficult to approach the mainstream gamers.
Yeah. And right now, obviously, you're using a Twitter. Your Twitter is your main piece and stuff like that. But you're
Mhm.
also integrated heavily into Discord as well.
We have broadcasting feature to the Discord. You can
Mm-hmm.
download the bot, like install the bot in your server, and then
Mm-hmm.
select from the preset, the same preset you create here, to apply to that bot. So it sends over these embeds there. So it sends over an event starting, an event ending, and so on and so forth. We do want to add other features such as being able to receive these notifications on email, WhatsApp, Discord private messages if you don't want to send it to a server. So a lot of these things we're also working on and implementing. And probably one of the best things that's coming soon this week is iCal feeds, which is in- integrated directly into your calendar. You select a preset, you integrate it, and then it shows up all these events in your calendar, like Google Calendar, whatever it may be, and you can
Mm-hmm.
just toggle it on and off from the side. If you don't want to see it, if it gets too noisy, you can toggle them on and off.
Yep. Nice. And so one of the things, I see a lot of games that I know and that I've played a few times and stuff like that. Like I see Soulforge Fusion. I love that team over there. I actually still have sitting here on my desk a starter booster pack of 2 decks of Soulforge Fusion
Nice.
that I
That's
have
awesome.
that I first edition that I have not opened yet, and I don't know if I ever will. But
Mm,
you know, um,
that's awesome.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a hoarder or collector of things for some
I
reason.
can't blame you. I cannot blame you.
So, but no, like what? So, what are some of the games that you're playing right now that you're sort of keeping using this for and keeping track of?
What I want to make time to play more games, and really lately it's been very difficult to find that time as we're building a lot of things and we're just putting the new front for the studio. But a few games that I really want to play, for example, here we have Subway Rats. I've been
Mhm.
talking with their CMO pretty often. I've really been wanting to jump in. It's very interesting. It's like a risk to earn style, like Cambria, where you jump in, you have like a train, and it's like the game. Um, that one game on the browser, I forgot what it's called. You have a snake and you spin around and you try to block people off and kill them, and then it's like you eat their, little things.
Snake.
It's like snakes, similar to that, yeah. But they
Okay.
do it with trains, and you deploy with like money based on the station. So you deploy like for $1, you go kill someone that's worth $3, you get $3. You get killed, you lose your dollar. So it's
Yeah.
a very interesting concept. I did like the idea. Another game that I've been in love with and I built tools for is Raven Quest. Raven Quest, I built for them RavenQuest.tools with a team as well. And really, since I've invested a lot of time in building the tools, it's been very difficult to play the game, but I felt like I've mastered the game just by building the tools. So it's like my account level is still very low, but my experience with the game has been very high due to the fact that I had to build the tools. So this is another game I wish I can make time for to play. And every zombie games that's on Web3. I love zombie games in general. Big Black Ops zombie player. And I really just want to try all these different zombie experiences just when the time is right, when I have the time to put into these.
Yeah. I know undead. I saw undead blocks on there. No, talk about. Oh my gosh. Talk about some hillbilly game builders that you got to love no matter what. You know,
Mhm.
them boys. The team behind Undead Blocks. I love them. Um, you know, uh, I know one of the other games that I've been playing a lot. Bravo Ready Alpha. So BR1. You know,
VR1. Mhm.
they've done some cool stuff. One of the fun things I have it. Oh, I did. I do have it here. Um, I just got back from Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Mhm.
And in the mail, I had ordered this when they launched, but I finally got my Play Solana, you know.
That's awesome.
So just getting this all set up and starting to play. Um, you know, the Web3 gaming side of things always sort of has me sort of fun, you know, and
Mhm.
all the tech and geek stuff. Like I literally have like three white, you know, I got a Degen 1 sitting here as well.
That's amazing. No, these
Uh,
are masterpieces to collect. Like, I don't have experience with them, but just knowing that an ecosystem or like a chain pulled that off, it's fantastic. Even the Solana mobile, like I find that yes, they can be not as good or anything like that, but it's still fantastic to pull it off.
hey, I got the secret too.
Amazing,
Yeah,
amazing. I love it.
it's one of those things to where I agree with you. But what's really cool is sort of like the idea that, you know, bringing the virtual into the physical side of things, you know, making physical devices that people can build off and go off of, you know. So I think that makes for a really good starter in that gaming side of things, which um, the physical devices really sort of bring a center point to it, because a lot of us that grew up, you know, Gen Xers and stuff like that, Game Boys, Sega Game Gears, you know.
PSPs.
Yeah, well, PSPs were like later, you know,
Mhm.
but like, yeah, um, we're seeing the whole new device management side coming back to it and bringing both gaming and Web3 gaming back to people's hands, to where you don't necessarily need to be running around with your laptop or desktop computer anymore, which makes it, you know, that's what gaming was supposed to be, you know. GM was originally going mobile, you know, in
Oh,
gaming.
interesting.
You
I
know,
know that.
we switched it over to Good Morning, you know, and obviously
Crypto.
we have, you know, we have our GGs out there always, you know.
Mhm. You're right.
So I don't know. I'm when I finding you just out of the blue, just sort of like, you know, made me happy, you know. Um,
I'm glad to hear. I think
so
Game Boys and like all the the physical devices, it just has a different feel to it. Like being able to use a device that's made for gaming, carry it in your backpack, and things like that. It's very nice, and especially now, how powerful compute is becoming on demand for
mhm.
all the AI needs. Like compute is only improving. When we started calendar, one event, one Twitter post to process by AI through our AI pipeline. I can show it on my screen after. I can share my screen if you want me to.
Yeah,
Uh, one, yeah. So actually, I'll do it while I'm.
yeah.
Let me share my screen here,
Let's
so we don't have to go
go.
through that twice. Let's see. Stream your here. Share screen.
Let's get that up. Oh no, that's not my
Okay.
screen still. There we go.
Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So
Out to the
we'll go
tip,
to
by
the
the way, I just got from Colin. Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah.
So here, this is the jobs table. What the jobs table is just AI jobs. Excuse me. And so in here, it shows you like the pipeline of how it goes. So currently we have four different steps in the AI pipeline. Sometimes we don't use all four when we have some context. For example, in this case, that miner on NHS game, he submitted track engage event as a giveaway. So this is the type engage, so it's already classified, and then giveaway is a tag. So it automatically says, okay, skip detector, yes. Skip matching, yes, because track means it's an indication of a new event. Engage means it's already been classified, and then the rest is just more metadata. So in this case, it would only utilize two of the models or two AI agents. One is the summarizer that takes the link of the post, fetches all the context out of it, even the blog articles, the Medium articles in there, anything that contains text, it will fetch it, summarizes it, and passes it over to the generator. And then the generator does the heavy lifting. It compiles it together in a beautiful JSON object that just fits just right with our data. And you can see here This took 7 seconds. Back
Yeah.
then, when we started, these were taking, let's go back. We have hundreds of these, but you can see it starts going up and up. So 35 seconds, um, 50 seconds, 60, 70. Uh, Here we go, even higher. So 100 seconds. Now, these are utilizing a few different AI agents. You have generator, matcher, and detector. But you get the idea. Like, it's been increasingly more efficient time by time. Just like last week, we've implemented the new model, um, Gemini 3 Flash Preview on these, and it reduced the bill by around 60% and it
Mhm.
reduced the time by 60%, just due to how efficient these models are getting. So, given that they're just getting so powerful like that, the compute is increasing that they have access to. Obviously, we're still like we have capacity on like a power level. Like, I can imagine this also from the mining space. When we're doing cryptocurrency mining, one of the biggest metrics that you have to go with is how much power you have available. And this is why a lot of GPU miners like myself, I used to have a bunch of GPU miners. Most of them navigated towards AI, compute on demand, distributing your GPUs for compute on demand. So you get paid for doing like AI jobs, such as renders, such as machine learning, and so on and so forth. And really, with seeing that come together and how powerful compute has gotten lately, it's going to make even these small devices that have access to games, such as your console that you can carry with you, will be able to access some really powerful compute. You'll be able to play some really powerful games on these devices. It's like why probably in 5 years from now, most people will not need an extremely strong setup, or even less than 5 years. They'll just need to buy a laptop, and that laptop will hit on computer on demand and utilize it. For example, NVIDIA's I don't know what it's called, but they have like a service where you can play using their GPUs on your device. And
Yep.
latency is, of course, is the only problem, but latency also improves as we go. And those will do the trick. Like you'll be able to play some fantastic games on these devices without needing to have the powerhouse of hardware. So just an
We've seen
interesting
and we've
perspective.
seen that grow on the game side, where games are being rendered in space, in time and stuff like that as well. And so I know NVIDIA just launched their new game player. I forget what it's their new game player avatar, and they were showcasing what games it was playing as well.
Mhm.
Um, but this is one of those things to where on the edge compute side of things, um, you know, huge pushes sort of moving forward on it. So I'm sort of excited to see how that sort of turns out.
For sure. It is indeed very exciting.
So, you know, um, man, we got, one guy's, currently talking about how he's building a 4 rack mini ITX AI system, and I love people that run local hosts and stuff like that, local agents and build. So you said right now you're using Gemini. Are there a few other AI agents that you're using within there? And how do I get you off of them?
How do you get me off of them?
How do how do I how do I get you into my agents? This turns into a
Uh,
sales pitch.
I
The show's
would never
about
be off
you.
of it. I would never be off of AI agents, but I'm more than happy to hear about the other options. Of course, as
Oh yeah,
builders, we always seek the next best thing. I'm
yeah,
very, thankful that I have a team that always seeks the latest in the niche that they're part of. So, for example, I have a very cracked senior developer that always knows what's new and what's hot. And I also have a very great designer that always knows what's new and what's hot. And they're always excited to try these things. And that's, I think, part of growth and part of building a team. If you don't have a team that's excited to try all these different things that are coming up, because now the space is moving faster than ever. Before, we used to have one new thing every 3 months, every 6 months, every 2 years. Now you have one new thing every week that you
yeah,
might need to try and might need to put on your radar. Yes, a lot of these new things end up dying fairly quick because a lot of vibe coding and so on and so forth, and or they get acquired by bigger companies. So it's a very interesting space now. Everything is moving so fast, and just having a team that's willing to experience and try different things has been really the way that we're able to keep up with so much and build so much at the same time.
yeah.
So how do you get me off the AI agents? I kind of went off topic, but how do you get me off the AI models? Never. Can you give me a better option that would save time and money, as well as increase accuracy? Then I'm all ears.
Yeah, definitely. No. And we can definitely talk about that offline and the things we've been building over at Manifest and Morpheus. But this is one of those things to where, so you have a crack team behind you of what, about 4 or 5 people?
Myself and 3 others.
Okay. So a total team of 4 building. And so it's sort of cool to see how this is coming along. Um, uh, and it's funny, literally I was just in your backyard for a day, and when I was flying through Turkey and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it's weird how all of these things sort of like, mix mash at the same time, and you just randomly find cool people. Um, so do you are you going to any game tournaments? Are you going to any IRL events locally or anything like that? Where can people find you guys and stuff?
When I used to be in Canada, I lived in Toronto. I used to go to all the conferences that happened there. We have Futurist it's
Futurist?
called, right? So
Yeah.
I used to go to that one all the time. I love that one, the team behind it and everything. It was great. Back then, I was going as mining chamber, due to that was just my focus in the mining industry. And the ones in Dubai is the ones that I want to go to. So when I start go, actually, I do have in the long term plans at some point move to Dubai. As every crypto degen, like moving to
I
Dubai is
hey,
great.
so my as I technically I can say I lived in Dubai for 6 months.
Mhm,
I had an apartment there for 6 months. I actually only lived there for like 3 weeks because I'm constantly on the conference circuit, and so
mhm,
it was I got the place and then I just never went back home. Um, but I was just in Dubai and Abu Dhabi for Breakpoint, ADFW, Bitcoin Mina, the Global Game Show. Um,
mhm,
I didn't make it to Futurist Toronto this year, but I made it to Futurist Miami, and I love the team, Laura and Tracy behind Futurist. Um, that's been I've gone to that 3 or 4 times, I think,
mhm.
which has been pretty cool to do. Um,
Right.
so yeah, no, one conference that I haven't been able to make it to in like the last 2-3 years, GDC.
Mhm,
GDC was always sort of my favorite to go to. And I remember going there for my game company back in the day, with I think I had like 400 thumb drives getting my game out into gamers' hands, and
right.
a lot of them took it. But then, like, what I remember, this was like 22, 21 when like NFT gaming, like people were like, oh, yeah, they'll play it. And then they're like, wait, there's NFTs. Ew, it's gross,
Mhm,
you know? And so it's sort of interesting to see how much this has moved along. Um, but like you said, and what I find most important, it's its discoverability. You know, Subway Rats, never even heard of them till now. You know,
mhm,
but seeing what they got going on, it looks like it's one of those fun little mindless pieces that you can play and take up a little bit of your time, because for a lot of these, this is sort of what you do. And my major games right now on mobile are uh, Parallel, Colony, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, Honeyland, and then sometimes I still play Among Us, and a few others, but desktop wise, it's like Off the Grid, uh, BR1, and Repo.
very nice.
you know,
Yeah, I think one thing that Web3 gaming brings to the table that mainstream gaming can never have is the ability to what's the word, without frictionless, being able to trade within peers as well as put money on the line in these games like Subway Rats. It's so simple to just deploy with $1 and then lose that dollar or earn $100. It's simple to do that. But imagine doing that like on League of Legends or on Warzone. You deploy with X amount of money, the winner gets all. That would be very difficult for them, and they're not incentivized to do that. They're big companies. People will play their game regardless of it. So Web3 gaming brings that perspective, and I love that. It's a nice risk, even though like I can't do gambling, I can't do betting and things like that due to like religious reasons, but I still love the idea of people having that ability. And like
Mhm.
for example, paid tournaments, I can for sure participate in a paid tournament, and the winner gets a bigger bucket of the prize. It's always interesting to me. Uh, Given that I'm not someone that's also very skilled at gaming, like I consider myself okay gamer. Like there's people that I play with, they're like cracked. And League of Legends, okay, I'm a great Z player, but that's as far as I go in terms of skills. Warzone, I'm decent, and and these are mainstream games that I play a lot of my life. When it
Yeah.
comes to crypto gaming, I'm behind all the time because it takes so much effort to understand and learn these games. Like Raven Quest, it has so much different things that you need to learn and to be able to build your character right and to be able to efficiently farm XP and things like that. Like min maxing is extremely important in Web3 gaming, especially when there's rewards on the line. And you get to see people that are absolutely insane and so talented at these things, and they make guides and so on and so forth. So really, I I just like to absorb all of that and just take it in and see where I can participate because there's so much opportunity and so much fun things to do across gaming in a whole.
Yeah, no, and we're seeing a big resurgence of like inner game economies as well. Cornucopias, which has gone through a couple shifts, now they're in, infinite rising or infinite rising. Um, they're doing this whole game economy piece side that like this is how like people just would focus on like mining one resource. We saw this
Mhm.
back in the day, World of Warcraft gold and stuff like that, and ore mining, and now and then we saw like how like Eve Online expanded and grew. It's sort of cool to see how all of these things sort of happen and change.
Mhm.
And like you said, there's you don't have time. One of the games that annoyed that I was really really looking forward to, but I just dragged on forever. Star Atlas, you
Mhm.
know, and then I tried to get into it, and you're like, I don't want to read a 20-page manual on how to like just dive into this game for 5 minutes, and see if it's something I like.
Mhm.
Um, but I think games are coming back to being more simpler. Now, are there's going to be the mindless brain rot games that you can pick up and play and and master, or think you can master in 30 seconds.
Mhm.
But these bigger, more in-depth games, I think, are starting to take a bigger hold as well. Over the last 10 months, where have you sort of seen games shifting?
I think I've seen the one thing that's very noticeable is that a lot of people try to build AAA titles when that's not what goes nowadays. Like AAA titles require a lot of investment of time and effort and funding to be able to make it happen, especially when you're building it like, the next Call of Duty or the next League of Legends or the next, um, let's see, like Valorant, for example. Like, there's a lot of games people try to replicate and build a different concept on them, but they just end up dying. And that's just not Web3 gaming. This is Web2 gaming. Um, we've seen Supervive, what's it called? The
Mhm.
one that just sunsetting in February. That's a great game. It's a MOBA, and it's a top-down battle royale MOBA, and it's also sunsetting. Even though it's a unique concept, there's just so much that can go wrong in terms of the learning steep and so on. And there's so much that can go on and go wrong in gaming when you're building one. But I think the most successful things has been so far is the small indie developers or the small indie teams that are building things out of pure art and passion. Like
Yep.
that's where we've seen a lot of success. Silk Song being one that's like, I'm not sure if their team is considered indie at this point, but I would say perhaps. But the game clearly is just a bunch of art and love in it, and you have this masterpiece that they made. So it needs to be like a unique concept. I don't think they stick around though for a long time either way. Like people play it heavily when it releases, and then it starts dying out, and slowly people go back to their game of choice. The usual game that they play within their peers and their groups, whether it may be Call of Duty, League, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting to see how like economies are shifting around like the game development ecosystem. So like was just in Abu Dhabi, and um he's going to laugh because I'm going to butcher his last name again, but his first name is Sultan Al Riyami, if I remember right, and he's head of game development for Abu Dhabi and stuff like that. And like
Mm.
how much game development in they look at it, it's part of their economic tourism division. Like they want game studios or indie game studios to come and build there, and so like they're putting a lot of money on the table for people to come do that. And so like they think they see this as a growing ecosystem. So like gaming is not dead in any way, shape, or form. And it's just expanding now more, that we're seeing. And I don't know if like Steam's rescinded it, but I remember Steam, like we're seeing games development with AI just going at a breakneck speed. And there was a moment there when Steam was banning any games that AI was used in the building of that game. And that freaked a lot of people out because people were using AI for storyboard creation and stuff like that and concept art before handing it over to designers and builders. And so we've started to see this shift in how quickly games get developed and built, and you know, um, and it's really interesting to see cities, putting a lot of money behind bringing game talent and development to them.
Right.
You know,
Even Saudi Arabia is taking a massive front on that as well, with the whole system they're doing for esports. Like
Mhm.
esports is only getting bigger, which is it's been fascinating to see. You know, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, like a lot of countries are pushing that gaming narrative very hard.
Yep. I might be in Riyadh in February for like the global game show and stuff like that. And so um, I was uh, I was in the uh, I was at the global game show um, in Abu Dhabi. So it's really sort of cool to see how much it's moving and what's going on there as well. You know,
Right. And also to kind of bring it back to Web3 gaming is that we notice these changes in the gaming industry as a whole, but I think a lot of changes we notice in Web3 gaming specifically, they do adapt fast. They have to pivot very frequently to stay alive. Um, and it does suck that it comes at a cost of like expensive NFTs or tokens that go, downhill. Because people end up investing in these and they end up getting burnt about it. And that's something you don't really face in mainstream gaming, Web2 gaming. You can just buy a game title. If it burns, it burns. That's just the $10 you spent on the game. It's no big deal.
wait,
But
what game are you spending $10 on, sir?
I got a bunch of indie games, like for example, party games. Gentleman
Oh,
Dispute is something that I've
okay.
been playing a lot with a group of people, and those are like small games, not big titles. But there's a lot of small games you can buy for $3, $4, $5 on
Yeah.
Steam, and you'll never think twice about the investment that you put there. But when it comes to Web3 gaming, some people are losing five figures in the year of just investing into Web3 gaming. Yes, you do
Yeah.
have the idea of revenue share and so on and so forth, but let's just have a good game and then we can think about doing a revenue share model and things like that. Like getting bootstrapped by very expensive NFTs won't end up good if the project ends up failing. You'll have a lot of people that hate you and will not accept whatever you build in the future as well. So it puts you in a very awkward position.
Yeah.
But we do see economies changing heavily now for Web3 gaming. A lot of people are pivoting away from token as much as possible, or they're not trying to rely on a player powered token ecosystem. Rather than they'll just use a token for governance or for um, profit share. Like one is still a decent one that people do now. Um, and which is due to the fact that we've seen a lot of failed TGEs.
Yeah. The other
People
side
have
of
to,
that too,
adapt.
the other side of it too that I see is the change of um, the NFT meta side of things. Like games used to, like there was a point where games were like making only like 3,000 NFTs, 5,000 NFTs, 10,000, and I was like, on average, if an NFT is minting at a 10,000, on average, most people will buy three. So that's 3,000 players, 3,333 players
Hmm.
at max capacity, and you're like, a game won't survive with 3,000 players,
Hmm.
unless it's a very light client game and very active spenders. But like, it's interesting that games sort of they build for the masses, but their revenue comes from 0.5% of their players,
Right.
and
And
so
it, yeah.
what were you
I
going to
was going to
say?
say, and they depend heavily on the funding they receive. So most people start with a team that's at level 1000 when they still haven't reached level 10 yet. Like
Yeah.
you need to start lean and you need to keep lean as long as possible. Have that runway and don't try to build another Call of Duty. Don't try to build another Pokemon or whatever. Like just build something that you know within a niche will succeed and then start growing it across different game modes and so on and so forth. And that's also very important factors. Like they just spend too much marketing, KOLs, streamers that they would pay millions of dollars for just a quick, flash in the pan. It's tough.
Yeah, and we've seen. I always forget the name of this game. It's like what? Like it's called like Higher, where you're just climbing a ladder,
Mhm.
you know. And
Right.
like I remember how much that was built by one person, and in like a week's time, they had 100,000 players, you
Mm.
know. And so, like you said, it doesn't. You don't look to be a replacement for Call of Duty or anything like that, because they're never going away. They're always going to be king. You know,
Mhm.
um, build something that is good for you. You know,
Right.
so I don't know. What else do you see coming up on this side of the world of gaming, and what else do you see sort of like, because you sort of get to see it all. You get to see the entire calendar of everything. You know, what are some of the cool things you see coming up?
In the Web3 gaming side, I'm just keeping eye at least on the games that I've always been wanting to play. Like I mentioned, like Raven Quest and things like that. These are things that I'm trying to keep an eye on to see like, all right, if at some point there's an event where I can't resist, I have to really block off some time for it. I will, bite the bullet and take it. Yes, productivity loses a bit, but it's okay. But what I'm really excited about is that, like, I no longer enter Web3 gaming with the mentality of like, what NFTs I need to buy. No, I just want to know what game can I play, and I can show to my friends that have nothing to do with crypto. My group of friends that I usually play games with, and they'll be like, oh, we're down to play it. One time I've done this with Bornless. I don't know if you've seen Bornless the game.
I think I've heard of it.
So it showed up on my Steam. I had a three free gift codes to use it. I'm not sure how did they show up there, but it was great. I had three gift codes or invite codes to use. I sent it to my friends that don't have anything to do with crypto, and I'm like, okay, this will be a cool experiment to see what happens. I will play this game with them, not mention that it has anything to do with crypto, and see how things go. We load into the game, and 5 minutes in the game, crashes, and then at this point, like, what the hell is wrong with this game? Like, are they good? I'm like, it's a crypto game. Like, no wonder. And then they just left and continued playing something else. We need to increase the standard. We need to make sure things are built right before we do play tests and so on. Like, Bornless looks good, like, but I don't think they have also any crypto elements that really classifies it as a crypto game. They started with it being a crypto game, but I think they pivoted away from that. But still, like for me, what I would be excited for is find these events that I can include my friends in and just see how they feel about it, as well as play with friends within the Web3 gaming community and see what they're enjoying as well. Um, but anything significant that I have my eyes on right now, not yet. Nothing crazy.
All right. Yeah, no, the way games are pushed out sometimes, for playtesting, you're at least hoping you can get more than 5 minutes in, before it crashes out. Um, I remember spider tanks, when it was sort of like the same thing. If you move around too much, too fast, or something like that, you could freeze it up if everything wasn't right. Um, but we've sort of seen like how sometimes some Web3 game studios get sort of torn apart between their separate foundations of like that token and the game side, like we've sort of seen with like Alluvium, and also happening within like Gala Games, and sad. It was sad to sort of see a simple game that I got into for a minute. What was it, like Planet Mojo? I
I
don't know
heard
if you
about
saw
it.
that one.
Hmm.
That was a merge tactics game, and then they had a free runner as well. Um, I you know I've sort of gotten into these merge tactic games for a minute. I've started to dive into those. I like those. You
Merge
know,
tactics. Don't. What kind of playstyle is
merge
that?
tactics, like where the like you have like if you have a pawn of the same type, and then it becomes a level 2 pawn.
Ah, I see. I see.
And then you get two more level 2 pawns. It becomes a level
Right.
3 pawn. Yeah, you
Yeah, I
know.
like that. Yeah, I played a lot of auto chess from Dota, from League, from also Illuvium. I don't remember if Illuvium had merge tactics though, but I do know like auto chess and TFT they had it, and it was very nice. I love that type of games too. Being able to merge and have RNG. Like I think RNG in general in gaming is very
Mhm.
powerful. Whether it be
Yeah.
mystery boxes, whether it be roguelike games where you can build a crazy build due to your RNG, like those are very nice. I keep bringing it back to League because it's the game that I just played too damn much. And Arena, a new mode that they added, where 2v2 includes a lot of RNG. You can build your character in different ways that you could never build in a regular game mode. So those things really hook people. And I think if we just have more of that in gaming in general, you have more chance of retaining these players because RNG is just so powerful.
Yeah. No, and the one thing that sometimes I wish that they would give you like once a year on those is like the option to do like a resource reset. Like give you all your resources back and like reset all your characters, because like after like a time of playing you're like, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done that and like powered that one thing up, and I would have just focused on this one thing." I remember um when um so I did some work for EA, but it wasn't owned by EA yet. But for Command and Conquer Rivals,
Mm.
and original alpha build, and then beta before going into public, and when they moved everyone to public, they did a resource reset. You got all your resources back that you'd spent on cards and upgrades and stuff like that. And it was sort of interesting to see how the meta changed. Of everyone had been working on like upgrading everything, so it was like and then all of a sudden, just coming out heavy with your top 5 cards and stuff like that, and so seeing how meta changes with things like that, it's sort of interesting, especially as games develop and more characters are introduced. You know, um, it's sort of fun to see.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like you said, it hooks you in. You want to see the development of a card. You want to see the development of a play tactic that um, is a big thing right there. So, yeah,
Right.
excited to sort of
Development of
see
it.
how gaming develops.
Absolutely. Yeah, like that's also it's a good point. It's like development of a new meta, especially if you happen to be like one of the first to figure it out, the new meta. It's just so rewarding to see. And then like everyone else starts doing it after every game you load into. It's like, okay, here it is, it's being done, it's too overpowered, and then it gets balanced, and then it's that endless cycle of finding what's the next best thing. It's nice. And this requires a game to be established and developed and has enough players to bring that challenge in. Because a lot of in our space, it's still young. Our space has a long way to go, and we don't have that quantity of players to induce that effect. Like even the development side for the game studios, we don't have that much of expertise in the development side to be able to constantly rebalance and spend time into rebalancing it because they're running also on thin pockets to be able to build an empire that they want to build.
Yep. No, and it's an interesting thing to sort of see and have come, as this development piece runs.
Mhm.
So, um, man, so what's coming up with calendar? Like, what do you see is coming up there, and like any alpha, man?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, 1 week and some time left in this month. We're trying to push a lot of different things. We have a whole redesign on the event details page. Let me see if I can share some snippets here. Let's do this. Yeah, so we have just a whole redesign on the event details. We want to make it feel like a true events page that games can share with their community.
Mhm.
And Another thing is we're also redesigning the game details page. So when you go to a game on calendar, you can have a clean timeline of all their events. And then we also have the 2025 wrapped. Those are the three big things that we're trying to work on. The 2025 wrapped is going to be just a piece of art that we want to invest time into building it nicely, and
Mhm.
to kind of take a moment and look back and see how did Web3 gaming do this year. I mean, on calendar we're tracking over almost 3,000 events now, so most of these events have been in 2025 given the fact we started it here. And it will be a very nice thing to look at. Okay, how many games have shut down, how many games have released, and also just give a story of like how us as a team built and what we built so far within that year. So like a small panel for that. That's really the most exciting pieces of the end of the year. Starting in the next year, we're planning on going public with our studio to be able to offer services for the game world, essentially, just like building web applications, questing platforms, so on and so forth, through the experience that we've built across 5 years building. So it's another exciting piece that we're very excited for, and we're planning on building a quite the experience for that.
Nice. And so I'm dropping the link right now for calendar, so people can get that. But do you have like a call to action that you would love, outside of people going to calendar and checking you out, Is there any calls to actions that you might have?
Feedback. The only thing we care the most about right now is feedback. Really use the platform and just give us your feedback. What would make you, as a gamer, want to use this? Like we do have down the line, we want to make it into a mobile app and just being able to download it and have it there, or even make it part of a bigger ecosystem that we want to integrate. Like as as people that build things, we notice a lot of flaws. For example, just the game data collecting side is exhausting in itself. You have game data across games.gg, play to earn, and most places don't match the same data because games don't update their information that often. So there's a lot of things that we see from our perspective is like, okay, we can improve in the space, like building one central authority for that game data. So a
Mhm.
studio updates it in one place, it propagates across everywhere. But from the players, the community, the one thing we care about is just feedback. Like, what can we do to make this calendar the place for your gaming information, or like the place for you to subscribe to a game and never miss a beat? This is
Nice.
the most important
Uh,
part.
and have you started to make up the platform side? So right now it's just for users, for players. Have you started to make like a or looking at developing for game owners to like if they want to broadcast on calendar first that they have a new event coming up?
Yes, so we do have a role for game owners called a game partner that we would give them if they sign up to the platform, and then they can verify that they're also a game um, like part of the owners. Whether
Hmm.
probably going to be the best way is just through the domain. Do you own an email within the same domain? We would do a confirmation there, and then if it's yes and it checks out, we give you access to be able to edit your game information, edit your event details information, submit new events, and so on and so forth. But one thing we do notice is a lot of games don't have the time to be able to assign someone to submit these events for them. And that's why we made the process very easy. Just post on X, tag calendar, and then the event will be added to the review for you just to accept it. So it makes it much quicker for them.
Nice. Awesome. Um, as we start to wrap this up, so I want to thank you for the time. I know it's super early for you. Um, it's starting to become super late for me. So I just wanted to thank you for hanging out and coming through on this. Um, you know, any advice you have for up and coming gamers, up and coming game developers, or those just sort of navigating the space in between one of the two?
For the gamers, I mean, do what you always do best. Find the next best game, play it, enjoy it, give feedback, proper feedback. If you're a crypto gamer, um, don't expect too much. Stop putting high standards on the gaming space. Like we're no different than regular gaming. Games shut down often. Yes, it's very frustrating to lose a lot of money in these shutdowns, but that's the problem. Like we need to address at the core of it is like we shouldn't be incentivizing games to price things at very high so that when they shut down it's not too sad. That's from the gamer side. From the game studio side, or the game developers, especially in Web3 gaming, start slow, don't depend on funding. This has to start as a passion product, just like everything else. When you build something just out of like the mentality of like, okay, we're gonna make an NFT sale, we're gonna make a lot of money, and then we're gonna plan what the game is, you're gonna fail. Build something very nice, build a loop that's engaging. It doesn't need to be big, it just needs to be engaging. And then from there, the growth will be natural. Yes, the growth will be always, it has a deadline where it's just going to start fading away if you don't keep innovating, but it's just part of this cycle. You build a game, people love it, people enjoy it, they play it, they tell their friends, they play it, and then it dies out. You build another game, or you add another part to it, and it's always been like that. And just play it slow, play it smart, and don't spread yourself too thin.
Nice. All right. Well, so as we start to wrap this up, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Everyone across LinkedIn, Player One Taco, YouTube, Degens YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Telegram, Rumble, Kick, on-chain via Abstract, and on-chain via Arena. As we start to wrap up, TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 977. So we end this show with two things: words of wisdom and the greatest, worst knock knock joke on the face of the planet. Since you're up here with me, final thoughts, words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. Build like nobody's watching and just keep building it. As long as you are very confident in what you're building and it's something that's going to help you improve your quality of life, just build it. People will catch up on it later and enjoy it. Also, don't generalize too much. Try to be specialized in one thing. Keep doing what you do and just double down on it. Of course, be also not oblivious to know that what you're doing is not something that's fading away or dying out. And obviously, don't be afraid of AI. Like AI has been one of the most single powerful tools that we've seen in the past, like 5 years of how it's been growing lately. And just use it, but use it right. Don't be sloppy, but use it right and know how to navigate the AI space. Because I think anyone that doesn't know how to navigate it now, from game studios, creators, developers, you're going to fall behind. AI is extremely powerful if it's used right.
Yep. Heck, even if it's not used right, it's still powerful. You know?
Right, but I think we're building a very good sense of, oh, it's AI slop, skip. Like a lot of people are getting that subconscious effect when they see AI that's not done right.
Yeah, the AI slop
Mhm.
and AI slop of comments is just it's taken off. So as we wrap this up, I give my words of wisdom are always the same. Closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity can never come a knocking. If opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. This is a perfect case of this.
Beautiful.
I randomly asked So to be on the show, and he said yes. So that's how we do it. And with that, we get to end with the greatest, worst knock knock joke on the face of the planet. So because you're up here, you get to help me with this. Are you ready for this joke?
I hope you're the one making it, because I don't make.
I am
bad at
100%. I have told this joke now 976
them.
times.
Okay.
All right. That's how good it is.
Amazing.
All right. Are you ready?
All right. I'm here to say
Knock,
who's
knock.
there. Who's there?